Kiwi Air, good morning. You're speaking with Roger. How may I help you?
Yes, hi. My name's Janet. I've just been trying to make a booking on the internet, and I'm having a problem that I'd like to complain about.
So, let me just take down your full name.
It's Janet Quigley. That's Quigley.
Thank you. And what's the problem exactly?
Well, yes. I'm trying to book myself and 3 children, so 4 tickets, to fly within New Zealand. We're wanting to fly from Wellington to Christchurch. Not one way, but return. So it's just a simple booking.
Yes, and you've put your dates in, have you?
Yes, the dates are... what are we in now? It's September, isn't it? So I'm booking for October. November. The 10th till the 15th.
Right. Let me just get that down on the form. And what time would that be?
We'd be leaving at 11:45 in the morning, arriving into Christchurch at 12:30.
Mm-hmm.
I know that it's cheaper to not make the reservation in person, so to save paying the fee, I've been trying to do it through your homepage.
Yes, so what's the problem exactly?
Well, every time I put in the number of adults and children travelling, the website automatically alters the rate for one of the children to what you'd pay for an adult. It's very annoying. I'm getting so frustrated with it. And each time I change it back, I've been getting error messages telling me to call you directly. I really can't understand it.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 5 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 5 to 10.
All right, well, yes, there is a reason for why that's happening. It's Kiwi Air policy, I'm afraid, to allow a maximum of 2 children to travel on child fares with just the one adult accompanying them.
So, because there's 3 of them and just me, do you mean I have to pay an adult fare for one of my children?
Yes, that's right.
But I've flown to Australia before on my own with the children, and we didn't have to pay extra.
It's a policy that we've just introduced for domestic air travel. It may be extended later for international travel as well.
But an adult fare is for someone over the age of 12. My children are only 11, 8 and 5. It's not fair to charge them for an adult rate. Besides, they actually eat less than an adult, so they wouldn't consume as much food on the plane. I just don't think it's right.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's how we charge. We do look after children well on our flights, you know. We give them little packs of games and coloured pencils so they have something to do, you know.
Well, still, the difference to pay between the fares is a lot of extra money that I hadn't budgeted for. It seems to me that your rules discriminate against a parent travelling on their own with the children, and also families with lots of children. And what about school groups? That wouldn't be fair.
Well, madam, yes, I can see your point. You're welcome to put your complaint in writing if that's what you'd like to do.
Well, I certainly would. I'll be writing a letter to your customer services officer, is it?
Just address it to the manager, then it will reach the right person. That's fine. That's your right to do that.
And how soon do you think they'll get back to me? I must say, I really am shocked at this. I'm not happy about it at all.
Well, at busy times it sometimes takes a month, but it's low season now, so you should expect to receive a response probably inside a week. You need to take down this reference number. I'll just give it to you. It's GBK 8422.
All right then, I'll put that in the letter. Well, thanks for your help.
Thank you for calling Kiwi Air.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 7.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Barton Museum. I am Carly and I am your tour guide. I would be taking you through all the places of interest in this museum before we actually set out to go. The first building we stop at is the Barton House, which was built by the man himself, Barton. When he first came to this area, It was largely uninhabited, and as a matter of fact, this place was a vast expanse of land where an abandoned farm was situated. After he bought it, he began building, and in about 3 years, the basic structure was complete, although he never really stopped building. As a man who loved the arts, Barton spent a good fortune on them. He had several paintings from all over the world, and his gallery is still considered one of the best in town. One of the most notable of his collection is the Chinese wallpaper, which was painted in the 18th century. Rumour has it that he paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for the piece of art. Barton kept adding some features to his house every year. He did this until the night he died. He was building a new bird room in which he collapsed and never came to himself. His dining room is also beautifully adorned with antiquity, from the tables to the stools to the mats. The chairs were bought from some Japanese merchants in the area then. Looking at the location of his house, which sits some feet higher than surrounding lands, it is possible to see areas of just green, lush vegetation that run for miles. At the backyard there is a garden which he started himself. He used to care for the plants there personally and made sure they never lacked water. He detested fertilizers as he believed that it would spoil the cycle of growth of the plants in the garden. He had some trees in the garden. They are not ordinary trees, but some rare ones, and they have been alive for decades now. Under one of those trees was his favourite spot, and history tells us that he used to sing and pray under the tree. Recently, the government brought in some flamingos here, as the environment supports their growth and development well. They are believed to make the scenery livelier and more beautiful. Although there are many exotic animals in the garden, swans are still the most popular animal here. They seem to be everywhere, and it was said that Barton thought that they were a gift from the heaven. It was forbidden to kill or hurt any of these animals in his time.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 8 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 8 to 10.
Now, let's take a look at other interesting places this site has to offer. Away from the backyard, there is a gallery just at the right side of the road, a few feet from the entrance, and there is usually a history exhibition every week. Halfway down the path, to the east of the toilet, we have the woodland, and the area is just beautiful. Barton decided to have it just because he loved the view. If you keep walking down the path in front of you to the west of the site, you will see a large gift shop beside the toilet. It has a large collection of handicrafts. These handicrafts are not actually made by Barton himself, but are imitations of his artistic works. As you have heard enough about this man, we would now proceed to see these things for ourselves. And I'm very sure that you...
That is the end of
Part 3. You will hear two students, Alice and Tim, talking about the lectures they have had recently. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Tim, the lectures we've been attending recently have been very informative. I love the diversity of the information we're learning. It gives a broad overall picture of the subject.
True, Alice, and it's useful to have a mentor help us get the most out of our studies. I admit, I wasn't particularly confident before starting this course. I felt my skills were not at the level required to succeed.
I felt the same way, but with help from Mr. Jarvis, I'm growing in self-confidence and ability every day. I'm grateful he has the time to spend one-on-one with the students.
Yeah, I improved a lot.
I would like him to be able to give us more information on other subjects, however. He does give a very narrow view of economics.
And I would like some advice on how to prepare for our seminars. I'm never sure what to expect.
I'm focusing on passing my exams at the moment. Mr. Jarvis has been coaching me in this respect. He saw I was worried and offered to help.
I'm grateful for his help in this respect too.
I'll think about what to study next year once I've passed.
I'm not sure what I should do with my life. I can't see myself pursuing a career in economics.
You have many skills that could be useful in several different fields. You've talked with the tutor about it previously, haven't you?
Not regarding my career. I did discuss with him some options for next semester, which course I might choose. He had some great advice.
He suggested that I should continue studying in this field for now. I wonder if he might help me with the experiments I need to conduct. I should ask him.
Great idea. How do you feel about the essays we've been required to write?
I thought it can be difficult, and it is actually. But I'm just able to deal with it. There are so many assignments to complete. If they were any harder, I don't think I could manage.
I feel the same way. I was talking with John yesterday, and he believes the level of difficulty for our assignments could be higher, that they are too basic for him.
I'm happy for him. I think this subject poses many challenges though.
Why do you say that? Your mathematical skills are very high. I heard you aced all your exams throughout high school.
At first the subject didn't pique my interest. I've had no previous experience in economics, so this is all new ground for me.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
Well, you seem to be succeeding despite your misgivings. My one concern is that we don't have the opportunity to put the theory we're learning to any practical use. We learn many formulas and strategies, but with no practical application, it feels like we are wasting our time.
I don't agree. I feel that the project we worked on last month was very practical. We had the chance to test our skills and ascertain the areas we need to improve.
I will say that this course is giving us many opportunities to expand our networks, which will be of benefit when we have graduated and are seeking employment.
Yes, I've had the opportunity to meet many successful economists and businessmen, and hear how they rose to their positions through hard work and dedication. This has been of great value. Do you feel we have had enough opportunities to experience what it is like to work in a large organization?
At first I believed that to be the case. Now I'm not so sure.
I think we've been given ample opportunities, first through the work placement program, and then by means of the excursions we've taken to some of the most prominent financial institutions in the country. I feel though that through the course we haven't put enough emphasis on communication.
Communication is vital in the workplace, especially in an environment where one mistake can have serious consequences. But I believe we've been taught the necessary skills. Our lecture yesterday covered this topic thoroughly.
You mentioned you may not continue with economics. Is it perhaps because you believe we haven't been shown the career possibilities in this field?
No, our classes with Miss Hathaway have been beneficial in showing the possibilities. It seems the teachers here would like us all to continue in our study. They take every opportunity to assist us in identifying what specific career to pursue.
I agree. They have made it very clear what our options are, which I'm thankful for.
That is the end of part 3. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers.
Part 4. You will hear a lecture's introduction to Insect Biology 101. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
Good afternoon and welcome to Insect Biology 101. I'd like to begin this course with a few remarks about good insects and bad ones. Bugs are all around us, and that's both a benefit and an annoyance, sometimes maybe even serious harm. First, let's talk about the good things that insects do for us. Probably the most important insect for humans, and maybe for all other life, is the bee. Bees help plants in the process of pollination and thus are necessary to most flowering plants and fruit trees. That is, they carry pollen from male flowers to female. If it weren't for bees, we'd have very few food plants and no fruit either. In fact, there would be no we. No lesser thinker than Albert Einstein pointed out that without bees, humanity would be dead within a year or less. We'd starve. It's that simple. That should maybe make us just a little humble. A little less dramatic is the fact that bees also make the honey we eat, and they produce beeswax, which is useful in candles and is also used as a first-rate polish for furniture. Sure, these may not be vital to our lives, but they can serve as reminders of how important bees are. That's a point I keep coming back to in this course. Though in all fairness, I should point out that butterflies aid in pollination, as well as bees. Now here in Michigan, what's the worst part of summer? Yep, that's right, mosquitoes. But I'm talking about helpful insects, right? So let's look at the dragonfly first. If there were no dragonflies, there would be even more mosquitoes. Dragonflies mainly eat mosquitoes and also a few other insects. Yes, that's right. They don't just fly around, and they also help to eliminate harmful insects. So the next time you see a dragonfly, don't you dare kill it. Now, let's talk a little about those harmful insects. Take the mosquitoes I just mentioned as an example. Not so many years ago, mosquitoes here in America weren't just annoying. Some were even deadly. They carried malaria and yellow fever. My own ancestor, the Confederate General John Bell Hood, lived through the worst battles of Civil War, only to die at age 38 from yellow fever. A pest, not a bullet. Well, besides the mosquitoes, in summer there is also a kind of insect that never seems tired. Right, that is the fly. Before I go on talking, I must mention an African fly called the tsetse fly, which feeds on blood and can cause serious diseases in the people and animals that it bites. Besides, it is still a bearer of sleeping sickness, which affects around 300,000 people every year in Africa and can be treated only with toxic drugs that are hard to administer. Worse still, the drugs sometimes don't work. Other insects, of course, destroy food crops. In China, for instance, locusts continue to be a danger to the harvest in some areas. Less important, but still annoying, moths eat people's clothes, and dust mites slowly destroy carpets. Worse, but still in the home, termites or white ants eat wood, the wood of your house. If they are not stopped, they can eventually destroy the whole building. Usually they seriously damage a building before anyone even notices them. So, as we all know, insects can be a real trouble. So what to do? You can go ahead and start killing harmful insects. In the early decades after the Communist Revolution in China, Chairman Mao encouraged the people to swat every fly they could see. Slogans on the walls of buildings has called them little capitalists, but flies reproduce too quickly for this to be a long-term solution. For some decades in the West, to kill insects with chemicals seemed a good remedy. Unfortunately, chemicals can only be used in a limited area for a limited time. It's a small-scale solution. The insects come back. Worse still, some of the poisons used, like DDT, were found harmful to the environment. Many kinds of wildlife, like hawks, were harmed, and people in chemical-using rural areas have one of the highest rates of liver cancer in the world. It's no secret that chemicals remain harmful to humans. Like all species, insects adapt to their changing environments at an amazing rate. When a new chemical is introduced to their habitat, the insects survive are generally the ones with some way of resisting the harmful effects. They then breed with the other survivors, and just like that, Insects become resistant to most poison in a few generations. An insect generation, remember, is a couple of months at most. So again, we have to ask what to do. Well, there are biological solutions. Some of these are pretty simple. One is destroying the insect's habitat. You take away their home or food. Cleaning your kitchen is the best way to prevent roaches. No garbage, no food. Getting rid of marshes and swamps eliminates mosquitoes. Other solutions might include bringing in dragonflies or bats in areas where mosquitoes are many. This is a cheaper alternative to chemicals. Biological methods like this also bring no extra pollution to the environment. But you have to be careful. If you change the environment too much, you might be hurting other forms of life accidentally. One recent method of controlling insect populations involves interrupting their breeding cycle. What does that mean? It means birth control for bugs. Insects are provided with food that makes them unable to reproduce. Since they can't have babies, the population disappears, or nearly so. And since no young are born, resistance is not a problem, with no young insects developing increased resistance. Interrupt the life cycle, eliminate the bug. It's clear that we must have an understanding of the life cycle of the insect. At least that's the plan. We'll go into more detail as the course goes along. Now I will stop here to see whether you have any questions or not.
That is the end of Part 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers.